It's time for the Leadership Lunch Break with Joy Jackson of Speaking of Joy. Let's tune in for today's discussion.
Good afternoon. I'm Joy Jackson of Speaking of Joy, and I want to welcome you to the Leadership Lunch Break. Today, I am going to have an absolute favorite rejuvenating beverage, tea. I'm a hot tea drinker. It brings me back to my zen. It helps me to be rejuvenated. It gives me clarity. It gives me the ability to take a break. And I think that's super important when we're going to talk today, because I want to ask you as a leader, and of course, remember, when I mention leadership, I'm talking influence and responsibility. Have you ever found yourself literally on E? And by that, I mean, it's just not any fun anymore. It's hard to be motivated. You're no longer engaged. You're finding that people are getting on your nerves. The work is getting on your nerves. You're really trying to find your way back to where you began. And if you're on E, you'll know it because you're frustrated. No matter what you do, no matter how you operate, no matter what you try to do, it's just frustrating. You're exhausted. You're having a very hard time finding the energy or the excitement in what you were doing before. You're losing morale. You no longer have a positive word. You were one of those people who had great things to say in the morning, and now it's like, it's okay. I'm all right. Or people always say, oh, no complaints. Well, and my motto is, if you complain, it doesn't change anything anyway. But if you find yourself in that space, or if you just don't have the excitement or passion you once had, it's really hard for you to do the work that you once enjoyed. It's really hard for you to encourage others. Then, friend, you're on E. But I challenge you today that although you may be on E, there is one way to bring yourself back. And that's to remember your why. I ask you, why did you get in the position you're in? Why did you take the leadership role that you took? Why do you have the influence and the responsibility that you once had? Because the truth of the matter is, friend, when you talk about your why, that resonates with your purpose and your spirit and the reason that you do what you do. So I challenge you that as you continue to find yourself in spaces where it's just not the same, ask yourself what's your why, because the why will always bring you back to the very beginning. So I encourage you today to remember your why. Have a great lunch.
Thank you for joining the Leadership Lunch Break. Join us next Thursday at noon Central Standard Time for lunch as we continue our discussions. Follow Speaking of Joy on all social media platforms or visit our website at www.speakingofjoy.com. That's www.speakingofjoye.com. Until next week.